Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Beth Watts. I'm the transfer advisor here in the Office of Transfer Services.
And my name is Jenna Reed. I'm one of the transfer credit evaluators within the office.
So we're glad that everyone has joined us today. We're going to be talking about basically how to understand your transfer credit, how it was evaluated, and then some advising. So we're going to get started with Jenna and go through this.
So a little bit about how we articulate or evaluate your transfer credit. So what we do is we actually look at the transcripts that you have submitted as part of your application, and we do take a look at each individual course that you've successfully completed. And when we say successfully completed, that means that it has to be a transferable course from another college or university. The grade does have to be a C or better, and that means a C minus does not transfer. So I know we get that question a lot. So C or better. Most technical courses do not transfer, and developmental courses as well do not transfer, as well as institutional credit by exam. So one reminder here is, so we were talking about once you submit a transcript, that's how we evaluate your coursework, but we also want to remind you at the end of the semester to submit your final official transcripts to us, because I know a lot of students get a little confused on they've already submitted their transcript, but at that time you've had coursework in progress. So at the end of the semester, just make sure that we get a final official transcript so that way we can update your coursework that was loaded as in progress. So that coursework that's in progress, you'll see on your degree works that Beth will talk about later, that will be denoted on there as a grade of TP, which just means transfer pending. So when you're looking at your degree works audit, you'll see those courses out there with a grade of TP. And also for those who are completing an Associate of Arts degree or an Associate of Science degree, make sure that you're in touch with the institution that you're getting that degree from. And if you're required to apply to graduate or anything like that, make sure you're in touch with that institution, that you're completing those graduation steps. And then on that final transcript, just make sure that we get that degree, either Associate of Arts or Associate of Science notation on the transcript for you. Now, how you actually view your transfer credit evaluation, you do that through logging into your My Mountaineer portal. And then when you log into your My Mountaineer portal, I think there's a link that says like view more details. You'll have to click that link to view more details, and then it'll say view your transfer credit evaluation. So then when you click on that, it's a lot of clicking, I know. But when you click on that, that will then direct you to a login for DegreeWorks. And then you'll put in your Appalachian credentials plus a password, and then that's how you'll start viewing your DegreeWorks, how not only your credits transfer, but your intended major, the requirements for that, and the requirements for general education if you're still required to do some general education here at Appalachian. So a little bit about understanding your credit evaluation. We do have, as part of our general education, a first year seminar requirement. But the good news for transfer students is if you have over 30 semester hours of transferable college coursework, you'll see a notation on there of UCO Met. And this is a placeholder, and this is letting you know that if you transfer in with over the 30 hours, that first year requirement is exempt for you. So again, look for that kind of placeholder course on your DegreeWorks. Now, math here at Appalachian is a little different than maybe a lot of institutions in which you're transferring from. Math or quantitative literacy is what it's called here at Appalachian in the general education program. We do have a 4 semester hour quantitative literacy requirement as part of general education. Again, that's when you hear quantitative literacy, think math. It's traditional math. If you have anything that is a transferable math course that is less than 4 semester hours, we'll transfer that in as what's called GEP MAT, M-A-T. And what that means is you're getting that many semester hours transferred towards the 4 semester hour general education math requirement. This is a big one. If you're transferring with any transferable math course, whether it be AP, IB, CLEP, or transferable math course from another institution, you are not required to take the math placement test. Now, this checklist item won't go away from your My Mountaineer portal because unfortunately it just hangs out there. Kind of as a reminder, like, hey, if you need to do this, go do this. But if you have a transferable math course, then you do not have to complete the math placement requirement. Now, if you say, oh, I've got 3 semester hours coming in as that GEP math, how am I going to get that 4th one? We've got a couple different options for you. Some may be built into your major. Your intended major may require another statistics lab or another calculus. But that's going to be built into your major requirement. If you do not have another math requirement as part of your major, you can always pick up a 1 semester hour math lab. We do have 1 semester hour math labs and statistics labs, and I think they're only offered during the spring term at this point in time. Hopefully we can offer those later, but right now it is just during the springtime. So let's move on to test scores. I briefly touched on those shortly. The most important thing to remember about getting credit for your test scores, and these are tests such as AP, IB, CLEP, A, and AS level exams. We do require that you submit the official score report because we're using those scores to give you credit here at Appalachian. There are minimum scores needed to get college level credit here at Appalachian. So you can check out that link at the testing.appstate.edu link there. It'll let you know the minimum score that you are required to get in order to get credit here at Appalachian. So that's always a good thing. One big difference this fall of 2019, in years past, a lot of our departments required scores of 4 or 5 for AP credit. This year, the state has mandated that all UNC system schools give credit at a score of a 3. So that's a really big one. So check out, again, that link to see what score is required and what credit you would get for those scores. Military credit. Now, a lot of students who transfer in either have military credit or active duty or have completed basic training. We do award credit for military. We just require that you submit either a DD-214 or your joint services transcript, and we can award up to 8 semester hours of military science leadership. And the great thing about that is 2 of the 8 will automatically be awarded if you don't have credit for your wellness literacy. And that, again, that's another general education requirement. But that's one way to complete one of the general education requirements is through the DD-214 or your joint services transcript. We do have a veteran student coordinator. His name is Eric Gormley, and his email address is there for you if you have any questions. He can definitely, if not answer them, point you in the right direction.
He's a great resource for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So meeting general education requirements, we kind of talked about this a little bit before, but let's go into further detail. So general education is a requirement here at Appalachian that's part of any major here at Appalachian. So regardless of what major you choose or change your major, this general education requirement is going to be a part of that. And there's several different ways as transfer students you can actually meet Appalachian's general education before transferring into Appalachian. One of those ways is through the North Carolina Community College. If you're completing your Associate of Arts or Associate of Science degree with grades of C or better in the core of that degree, that will meet Appalachian's general education. So pay attention to actually what degree you're in at the local North Carolina Community College, because we do require it to be the Associate of Arts or the Associate of Science. So Associate of Applied Science does not transfer to meet Gen Ed. Associate of Fine Arts does not transfer to meet Gen Ed. So just make sure that it's the Associate of Arts or Associate of Science and that you're making those grades. Official transcripts, again, must be submitted indicating that degree requirements or that diploma was awarded. So make sure, again, that you're in touch with the community college to see what requirements they require from you. Now, let's say you transfer into Appalachian and you are missing maybe one course from completing your Associate of Arts or Associate of Science degree. We do have a couple options for you as well. We do have what's called the Reverse Transfer Program. It's a statewide initiative, and it's a really behind-the-scenes program that's run. You are giving Appalachian permission to share your academic record, and Appalachian shares the courses that you've taken and completed at Appalachian with the community college in which you're transferring from to see if the 4-year courses that you're taking will also meet your degree requirements for that associate's degree. So you're basically just allowing us to share that academic information behind the scenes. And if that associate's degree is awarded with the classes that you've taken here, then that's great.
It's great. Yeah, it's a good program for sure.
It is. And then I would say another option for you is if you transfer with less than, is it 11 semester
11 hours.
11 semester hours. Beth here actually runs our General Education Exchange Program, or Gen Ed Exchange for short. And what she does is she actually helps you contact the community college in which you're transferring from to see what course you could take here at Appalachian your first semester, make a grade of C or better, transfer it back to that community college to complete your associate degree requirements that way.
Right, and that's a good program, again, if you've got 11 semester hours or less, and basically you sign a contract with me that says that you're going to allow me to contact your community college so I can verify exactly what classes you need. And again, that has to be done the first semester that you're here.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Beth, because I feel like the big difference between the two is that Gen Ed Exchange program, you have to have that done within your first semester.
Right.
Whereas statewide reverse transfer, you can kind of be working on it throughout your whole time here at Appalachian.
Right. And again, and Gen Ed Exchange is to help you get general education requirements met, and then the reverse transfer is so that you can get the AA or AS degree. It's not necessarily meant to meet Gen Ed, though sometimes it does.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, it's either program can work. Just let us know which one we can help with.
Absolutely. Okay, and continuing on with meeting general education, we realize that not all of our students are transferring from a local North Carolina community college. Some are transferring from out-of-state institutions that do offer associate's degrees. So if you get an AA or an AS from an out-of-state institution, you can contact our general education office. Kristen Hall is the person who works magic in that office, and her contact information is there. If you want to touch base with her, she can take a look at the courses you've completed, compare them to Appalachian's coursework, just to see if that would meet Appalachian's general education. The same for those of you who are transferring from our UNC system sister institutions. If you've met general education at your UNC system school, contact Kristen Hall again. She can compare those courses to see if they meet Appalachian's general education requirements. If none of those pertain to you, then what we do is we take a look at your individual coursework and just transfer it in where we can into general ed.
All right.
And now I'm going to turn it over to Claus for advising.
All right, let's move on to advising. Okay, so one of the things that we really want to point out right now is whenever you apply to Appalachian, you apply with an intended major. So whatever you put down, whether it was history, nursing, whatever, that's an intended major. You can officially declare your major when you have earned 30 hours of credit. You have no pending transcript needed, no pending transfer credit. You have your first year writing, so for us that would be RC 1000. You have your first year seminar or that UCO MET, so if you're a transfer student coming to us with 30 hours or more, you get that UCO MET. Now if you have less than 30 hours, then you're not awarded the UCO MET, and so then you do have to take the UCO 1200 course. And then of course meeting any other specific program requirements. Your academic advisor can further help you with that, but you probably know if you're coming to us with 30 hours or less. So if you have any questions, let us know. Okay, so hopefully everybody has had an opportunity to look at their DegreeWorks audit. Now, DegreeWorks is based on the information that we have at hand. When Jenna's articulating credit, we only can go by based what's on the transcript. And so from there, if we don't have a transcript that's stating that you have the AA degree, then your DegreeWorks is not going to reflect that. So keep in mind that when you're looking at your DegreeWorks audit presently, you just have to think about what you're going to have in the future. If you know you're getting the degree, or you know that you're going to have Gen Ed Med in some way, then you kind of got to think through that whenever you're going through the registration process. So let's look a little bit more in depth at DegreeWorks. One of the first things to really remember is your student ID. Sometimes you hear us say banner ID, student ID, your 900 number. So put it in your phone, commit it to memory. It's kind of like your social security number here on Appalachian. It's how we identify you most of the time. The next thing to consider is your major. You want your DegreeWorks major to be correct. If it's not correct, then your courses aren't correct, and then registration is a lot more difficult. So we're going to give you some information on how to change that major a little bit later, so just keep that in mind. If it needs to be changed, we can get that done for you. The next thing to consider is down below under the student view. You see where it says advisors. Right now, no one probably has an advisor because your advisor has not been set yet. They will not be set until orientation. The next thing is your cumulative GPA. This should say 0.00 for everyone. When you transfer your credit, but not necessarily your GPA. Now, there are some of our programs, such as the nursing program, that do look at that transfer GPA whenever they're looking through the application process. The other thing to consider on the right side of the columns is the cumulative earned hours. Now, these are the amount of hours you have completed presently. So if you have anything in progress, that is not included.
That's a good point, because I get a lot of students asking that question. So it is important to remember that this is solely based off those classes that you've gotten grades for. If it's anything in progress, it's not included in the cumulative earned hour column.
It's a hard thing to say.
It is.
All right, so down below that, you're going to see the general education requirements. And as Jenna was saying earlier, if you're going to have an AAAS, maybe it's out of state and it's already been approved by Kristen Hull, or you're going to have your UNC transfer credits complete through the gen ed at another institution, then this is not going to necessarily pertain to you. If for any reason you're going to have gen ed met, then this will all collapse and you'll have a great big green check mark and your degree works once we get that final information.
And I think one thing that's kind of important here at the general education section of your degree works is right now it shows the students all their options. So it may look overwhelming, but don't let it intimidate you, because it's just showing you what all options you have. As you complete some of the requirements, it'll start condensing. So don't get intimidated.
Yes, that's a very good point, because a lot of times students they look at that and they're like, oh, wow.
I have to complete all these courses. But no,
that's not right. No. So keep in mind, our general education is 44 hours, so that's all that it is. And if you don't have to take UCO 1200 or first year seminar, then you're actually only completing 41 hours. Okay, so let's go through this really quickly. Again, first year seminar, UCO met credit. Then you have your first year writing and your second year writing. This is RC 1000 and RC 2001. Then, of course, the quantitative literacy that Jenna was talking about. And again, that's 4 hours. Then the wellness literacy, and Jenna mentioned that also when she was talking about the military credit. So wellness literacy is 2 hours, and that can either be 2 PEs, it can be a nutrition class, a public health class, depending on your major, that might be fulfilled, especially if you're doing something like exercise science or nutrition, which are heavy in the wellness aspects. The next thing to consider is the integrative learning experience. And the integrative learning experience, you'll see, I think it's 16 different themes. And basically, this is the section that I think intimidates most students, because they're like, do I have to complete all those classes? No, you don't. You only have to pick one theme and complete 3 classes within that theme. So again, pick one of those themes and complete 3 classes. That's all. The next thing is the liberal studies experience, and in the liberal studies experience, you have to complete 12 hours of coursework or 4 classes. Now, between your coursework and the liberal studies experience and the integrative learning experience, one class has to be a fine arts, one literary studies, historical studies, and social science. So usually what I tell students to do is try to get all of those in the liberal studies experience, because sometimes it can be a little difficult with the themes to try to get those in.
Absolutely. For me, it's kind of a game. It's like to see if I can get 2 birds with one stone.
Right.
That's what I try and do with those designations.
Right, and sometimes, if you're going into psychology, then it can double count because you need that for the major, like 1200, and then it can also learn. So some things you can really double dip on.
Absolutely.
The other thing is the science inquiry. We require 8 hours of natural science, so that's 2 lab sciences. Okay. All right, below that you're going to see your major coursework. Now this is a lot more prescribed, a lot more specific, because it's giving you the exact requirements. If you hover over the course, then you can, it won't do this here because this is not interactive at this point, but it will give you a little box that tells you the course description and the prereqs that are required.
And that is so important when you're talking about registering for a class, because when you go to register for a class and you're getting errors, you're like, well, I don't understand. You can always go back to reference your degree works by hovering over that course like Beth was talking about to see what prereqs are needed to register for that course.
Right, and sometimes one thing I had the other day was I had a student who thought that they had the prereq for calculus because they had taken what they thought was the prereq at another institution and it only transferred as GEP Math.
Yeah,
so
happens.
It does, and so we were able to use that function, and he was able to hover over it and look at that, and so that was very beneficial.
I love that.
Yeah, it definitely helps with the conversation. Okay, as you go past that, then you're going to see the follow-through courses. So follow-through courses are courses that we don't really have anywhere to put. They transfer, you earn the hours, but they're not fitting into the general education or your major requirements. Sometimes in follow-through courses, you'll also see like an RC elective. If you have come to us maybe from an out-of-state institution with a Comp 2 class, then we need to have that petitioned. Basically, what it is the department will not award credit until they are able to review the syllabus and kind of see what that looks like. And there's a couple different ways that you can make that happen through the petition process. Again, general education is through Kristen Heil in our general education office. But if you want to petition for equivalent credit, then you can get the transfer credit petition form from our website, which is transfer.appstate.edu. In the search engine, just put petition for credit, and it'll pop up all the information that you need. And so we need the petition form and the syllabus sent to our office at ots@appstate.edu so that we can send that information then on to the departments.
Let's go back to that fall through if we can, because
Okay.
I think, isn't that also where your coursework in progress shows up?
Actually, that's under attempted.
Attempted.
So, yeah, so under fall through, then you'll see if you have any coursework in progress, then it'll say attempted, and that's where you'll see the TP grades, right?
And
That's
so
a good point.
I think it's really important to note it in that section. It doesn't mean that the courses aren't transferring
Right.
and they're not being used towards your general education or your major. Right now, that's just where your kind of coursework in progress is held until we get a final transcript to make sure that you've made that grade of C or better. Then when we get that final transcript and we update your record, the course, if it fulfills a gen ed requirement, will go to that section, or if it's a major requirement, will go to wherever it needs to go to.
Yeah.
So just don't try and petition a course just because it's in that attempted section, because that just
Right.
means it's in progress, and it might fulfill a requirement when we get the final transcript.
Good point. Very good point. Okay, so petitioning, again, you're looking for the transfer credit petition form. And again, if you have any questions about that, go on our website, transfer.appstate.edu. All right. So ERA, hopefully by now everybody has done ERA. We're about, I guess if you're watching this, we are in May 3rd, 2019, and so we just started the registration process. We're getting
About 3 days.
About 3 days. It's been a fun 3 days on campus for sure. So whenever you start the registration process, the first step is early registration advising. This is an online course that you go through that tells you all about the curriculum and registration process. It explains the program of studies. It explains, what classes you're going to have to choose, and it allows more productive time with your advisor at orientation. So ERA is very, very important. So we need you to go through that. Take your time, dedicate at least an hour to it. There's all sorts of little videos and tutorials in there. Watch everything and take notes. There will be a quiz at the end, and you have to pass with a 70 or better to get your 6-digit registration PIN number. So it's very important that you go through ERA.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why I think it's so important is because it's teaching you about registering here at Appalachian. It's not just a way to get registered this semester.
Right.
It's information that you're going to use throughout your whole time here at Appalachian. And like Beth said, you only have to make 7 of the 10 questions correct. And it's kind of like an open book quiz. You can keep all of your windows open. But this information we really want you to learn and digest because you're going to be using it the whole time you're here.
Right, exactly. So learn the process, take your time. Now, we would tell you how to change your major. So if you need to change your major so that your degree works audit is up to date and correct, please email era@appstate.edu. You will need to include your student ID so that they can identify you appropriately.
That 900 number you were talking about earlier?
That 900 number that we want you to commit to memory, put in your phone, whatever you need. Please include that and then the major that you would like to switch to. And again, that's era@appstate.edu. Okay, so when you begin the registration process, there's a couple things to consider. One being that you are registering after our current students, and so the registration fields can look a little bit full, but know that we are adding seats regularly. I know that they just added a whole other section of INT 1300 for our interior design students. So they're adding sections, they're paying attention to what students need, and so very important that you are prepared, know what classes you need, and be persistent, keep trying. We all go through the drop ad period. The drop ad stays open until what, through the first week of classes? Is that correct?
It is.
And so keep in mind that you'll be able to get the classes that you need. You're just going to have to take your time and be patient with it. You will be meeting with an advisor at orientation. And so just know that we will get you the classes that you need. It might not be the perfect schedule. You may have an 8 o'clock. But, it'll be okay. We will get you where you need to do. And then you wanted to mention about the registrar's office. You had some good points about that.
Yeah, a lot of times students will contact our office when they have they're trying to register for the class. They're getting a prerequisite error. There could be several reasons why this happens. But sometimes you'll need to contact the registrar's office just to figure out why you're getting this prereq error. So we wanted to make sure that you had the registrar's office contact information there at 828-262-2050. They're happy to assist with any prerequisite registration questions that you may have. Certainly, you're welcome to contact our office and we can kind of troubleshoot to see if we can help. But they're the ones that are over that whole registration advising and are the experts. So we wanted to make sure that you had that contact information there.
Right, because we are getting a lot of questions about those prereqs. Again, but you can go back and use DegreeWorks and use that hover option if you check that first before you call the registrar's office,
Absolutely.
I would say. Okay, again, registration questions after you've done ERA. If you still have questions about what classes to register for, again, go back and review ERA, or you can go to the advising website, advising.appstate.edu, or you can call them for assistance. There is an advisor on call Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and that number is 828-262-2167. So make sure, but go through ERA first. It's really your best tool, I think.
Well, what I think we want to highlight here is that Appalachian asks that you complete this ERA prior to orientation. So what you're actually doing is you're learning about registering for yourself. You go in there, you register for classes. If you don't have a full schedule, don't freak out, but register for what you can. Then when you come to orientation, you already have that schedule built, but at that time when you sit down with an academic advisor, you can iron out and say, oh, drop this class and pick up this class, or oh, this looks great. But we do ask that you come to orientation with some kind of schedule built, so that way, like Beth said, when you get here for orientation, your time with your academic advisor is way more productive.
Much more productive, yes. So again, make sure you're listening to that and going through everything that you need to do. It'll make your life a lot easier in the long run. Okay, so what to expect at orientation? Well, we're going to bring you in that morning to the Schaefer Center. If you're coming in the summer, then dress appropriately. It's always nice and boom, but wear a light jacket. You never know what it's going to be like. And if you're coming in the fall, then know that there may be snow or rain. It may be cold. So check the weather before you come. That's the main point there.
That's a good one.
So that morning, we're going to bring you to the Schaefer Center. We'll welcome you, and then you're going to be divided up based on your major. So that's why it's so important that your major is correct, not just for DegreeWorks, but also for orientation. That way you're with the correct group. So then you'll be with a group that morning where you'll have like some group advising, some departmental meetings, things of that nature, and then we'll send you to lunch. And then after lunch, everyone is going to have a one-on-one meeting with their advisor where you will go over the gen ed requirements, your major requirements. You can expect some changes, I'm sure, but it will be a very collaborative process. So make sure you're at those meetings, but while you're waiting for your meeting, you can always attend the mini workshops. There's various workshops that we offer in the afternoon, everything from Transfer 101 to, I think there's financial aid there and housing. So there's all sorts of great information about helping you transition to Appalachian. So we really encourage you to take advantage of that.
Another good point to make here is when you come for orientation, you know how I was pounding into your head earlier about getting us that final official transcript.
Right.
You can always bring a final official transcript with you to orientation to hand to one of us from the Office of Transfer Services. The little caveat here is do not open it.
No,
because if you open it, then it's not official any longer.
Right.
But that's always an option if you want to get kind of a quick way to get us that final official transcript. You can hand deliver it during orientation. Just don't open it.
Yeah, good point. Very good point. Okay, well, I think that's the end of our presentation, and we're so glad that everyone could join us that could be here. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to email us. You can email ots@appstate.edu. That's our office email, and then those emails get sent accordingly. You can also call us at 828-262-7877, and we will be happy to either help you with your call or send you where you need to go and help direct you to where you need to be. But again, we thank everyone for being here, and have a great day.
Have a great day, guys.